She thought she was stopping a hit-and-run driver.
And I'm catching up to him right now.
Okay, ma'am, we actually do not want you to chase him.
He is drunk. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you I'm not going to follow him.
When she takes matters into her own hands, it comes at a deadly cost.
She has shot the man.
God! I don't have my finger on the trigger.
Was this a good Samaritan trying to stop a dangerous driver?
So he's pulling and he's fighting, and that's when I put my finger on the trigger.
Or was a beloved grandfather murdered in self-appointed justice?
That there was only one aggressor on May 7, 2019. And that
He pulled the trigger on my gun and shot himself. Hannah Payne said that to a 911 dispatcher moments after Kenneth Herring lay bleeding to death in his truck. A 62-year-old grandfather, shot once in the stomach, sitting in his own vehicle on a Georgia street in broad daylight. That sentence tells you everything you need to know about this case. Not because it's true, but because she said it. Picture this. A woman who has never been in trouble with the law a single day in her life gets off work on a Tuesday afternoon, witnesses a traffic accident, and within 40 minutes has shot an unarmed man to death on the side of a road. No badge, no authority, no legal right to stop anyone. Just a Jeep, a 9mm Springfield, and a decision that could never be taken back. Before we go deeper into what the records actually show, make sure you're subscribed to the darkest crimes, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. It is May 7th, 2019, Clayton County, Georgia. Hannah Renee Payne is 21 years old and heading home from work when she witnesses a collision at the intersection of Forest Parkway and Clark Howell Highway. A red Dodge Dakota runs a red light and slams into the side of a semi-truck. Hannah calls 911. She identifies the other driver. She describes the vehicle. By every measure at that moment, she is doing exactly what a good citizen is.
Yeah. All while we're sitting here. I was doing 84 blocking the ramp for that tractor-trailer fire on the interstate. And I heard it, and it happened like 200 feet from where I was sitting.
She said she was at Clark Howell getting ready to go home. She said that he ran through the light and hit a truck. She said it was an officer down there with a bag that tried to grab him or stop him or something. He drove on off. So she chased him here and cut him off. And she said she said the truck that he hit is still down there. She said the whole time she was on the phone with dispatch, giving them information and telling them. Like dispatch just said that it was a 43 down there and stuff like that. But she said when she got here and stopped him, she told him, you need to go back. She said she was pointing with her left hand, and she said he grabbed her by her left hand and wouldn't let her go. And he was cussing, and she said, I do have my gun, my weapon and stuff like that. He said, well, shoot me, though, she said. And then from there.
Then she keeps going. The driver of the red pickup is Kenneth Herring, 62 years old. What Hannah does not know, and what investigators will later establish, is that Kenneth may have been in the middle of a diabetic medical emergency when his truck struck the semi. He wasn't drunk. He was likely in crisis. His car contained diabetic supplies. Witnesses at the scene noted he appeared disoriented and confused when he stepped out of his vehicle. Not combative, not aggressive, just a man who was not fully in control of himself.
2 shots? Yeah, so it's another shell casing in there.
It's clear there's a lot more to the story. Deputies dig deeper, and a new realization sets in. Kenneth could have been experiencing a medical emergency prior to the initial car crash.
I think the 43 part was having some kind of diabetic emergency, hit this other lady, white lady, and then she jumped out of her car and started harassing him about hitting her, and then she shot him.
But Hannah has already made a decision about who Kenneth Herring is. She called 911 a second time.
Clayton County 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. I'm on Clark Howell and Forest Parkway, the intersection. I actually called about 20 minutes ago for an accident, and no one has shown up yet. But I am under the impression that the guy that caused the accident, who ran the red light, is drunk. And he's gotten back in his car, and he's looking like he's trying to drive away.
The dispatcher asks Hannah if she can get the license plate number, so Hannah decides to follow Kenneth's truck.
So he is going west, down down Forest Parkway.
Okay, so you couldn't get a tag number?
No, but I'm catching up to him right now.
She tells dispatch she believes the man who caused the accident is drunk and is attempting to drive away. The dispatcher asks her if she can get a license plate number. Hannah follows. The dispatcher then explicitly tells her, in clear language, that they do not want her to chase him. She tells dispatch she understands.
Okay, ma'am, we actually do not want you to chase him. We just want you to be safe. And it's
I
not
understand.
safe to chase him.
I understand 100%. I'm just going to get the tag number, if nothing else.
Dispatch asks Hannah to return to where the traffic accident took place, but she doesn't listen. She thinks Kenneth might be driving under the influence.
If you can go back to that location where the incident happened, it's because someone is actually on the way to you guys now.
Okay, well, there's a police officer there, but he is drunk. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you I'm not going to follow him because he is going to cause another accident. So I will stay behind him until an officer can get to us, but until then, I'm not
Then
moving.
she says she is not going to stop following him anyway. She did not stop.
Ma'am,
He just pulled the trigger of my gun in my hand while he was...
ma'am,
I need a police
you were not
officer
supposed
now.
to follow him.
He hit my car!
Okay, you got the tag number.
There's a police officer down the street. Tell them to come up here now. He pulled the trigger on my gun after he attacked me. Tell the police officer to turn around from the 285 entrance and come up here immediately.
Hannah caught up to Kenneth's truck. She pulled her Jeep in front of it. She blocked his path. She got out of her vehicle while still on the phone with 911 and walked up to the driver's side window of a man she had decided was a criminal. And at no point during any of this did she tell the dispatcher she was carrying a concealed firearm. Not once. Not until after the shooting. She did not stop. Prosecutors, in their opening statement at her December 2023 trial, laid out the sequence in language that left no room for interpretation. According to the official trial record from Clayton County Superior Court, the prosecution stated that on May 7th of 2019,
on May the 7th of 2019, defendant Hannah Renee Payne had the audacity to chase, corner, detain, assault, shoot, and kill an unarmed 62-year-old Kenneth Herring who was sitting in his own car. All because she didn't like his driving. She didn't like how he acted. Then she tells the 911 operator, he pulled the trigger on my gun and shot himself. That's the level of audacity you're going to hear. Trying to claim this man would shoot himself. When we believe that the evidence will show through the witnesses, video, photographs.
Hannah Renee Payne had the audacity to chase, corner, detain, assault, shoot, and kill an unarmed 62-year-old man who was sitting in his own car. That is what the state argued to a jury. Not speculation, not theory. A documented sequence of actions backed by 911 recordings, eyewitness testimony, cell phone video, and a medical examiner's report confirming Kenneth Herring died of a single gunshot wound to the stomach. Now, here is the question that turns this from a crime headline into something far darker. If Hannah Payne believed she was performing a legal citizen's arrest, and if she believed she was in genuine physical danger, why did she block the road, approach the vehicle on foot, and escalate a confrontation with a stranger she had followed against the direct instruction of a 911 dispatcher? At what point does the instinct to help become something else entirely? The confrontation at the window is where the stories split. Hannah's version, given both in her police interrogation and later on the witness stand, is that Kenneth grabbed her wrist, ripped her shirt, and began fighting her for control of the gun after she disclosed she was armed. She says she told him to stop. She says she was screaming. She says she does not remember making the decision to pull the trigger.
He's pulling at it, and that's when I told him, after he's reaching, I told him, I said, I have a gun, I said, and I will shoot you.
Okay.
And that's when I reached for it, and because I hadn't reached for it, hadn't touched for it the entire time, I reached for it, I pulled it out, and that's when when I pulled away from him is when, because my shirt ripped. It's not that he let go. I had it out at that point. He was still coming at me, still yelling at me, I got something for you, you know, you're going to shoot me, then shoot me, do it, do it, do it. And when he grabbed is when I honestly don't know. I don't remember telling myself to pull the trigger.
The witnesses on scene tell a different story.
On the record, honestly, I hate to say it like this, but it was like another day in Clayton County. And as I was recording, I heard a gunshot.
Now, did you see any sort of struggle between the driver of the car that she's standing at and Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Okay, describe what you saw.
It just looked like a little pushing back and forth.
When you recorded what was on your phone, were you able to then view that recording?
Yes. I actually sent it to an officer on the site that same day.
Law and Crime has obtained that cell phone video taken by Cameron Williams. In the video, Cameron is driving right past Hannah Payne as she confronts Kenneth Herring at his driver's side window.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
According to testimony from the medical examiner, Kenneth Herring's death was caused by the gunshot wound he sustained to the stomach.
The cause of death in this case.
One eyewitness, testifying at trial, described observing what looked like a pushing and shoving altercation through the window before the gun came out. Cell phone video captured by a bystander named Cameron Williams, who happened to be driving past at the moment of the confrontation, showed Hannah Payne standing at Kenneth's driver's side window in the moments before the shot was fired. 2 shots, according to multiple witnesses on scene. 2. The medical examiner confirmed a gunshot wound to the stomach as the cause of death. She did not stop. Hannah's own words during her police interrogation created as many problems as they solved. She told investigators she did not have her finger on the trigger. Then, when pressed, she said she put her finger on the trigger because Kenneth was pulling and fighting. Then, at trial under cross-examination, when the prosecution pointed out that her courtroom testimony contradicted her interrogation, she said her finger was on the trigger guard, not inside the trigger. Investigators asked her directly, "Do you think you pulled the trigger, or do you think he did?" She said she originally felt like he did. Then she said it was a matter of force, rather than a conscious decision. Then she says she does not remember.
Now, do you think that he pulled the trigger, or do you think that you pulled the trigger?
What I told them originally was that I felt like he did. Because I did not have my finger. I know about the double safety mechanism, so that's why I specifically did not have my finger on the trigger.
Okay.
Now, when I pulled it back around, after he was, tugging at me and he lunged, he still had his hand on it, and I had my hand in on it.
Okay.
But it was more so of a matter of force instead of me saying, okay, I'm going to pull the trigger.
Okay.
So he's pulling and he's fighting, and that's when I put my finger on the trigger, and he still had his hands on my hand, so that way both of our hands was in the, I don't know what the trigger.
The trigger guard?
Trigger, yeah, inside.
Like a little circular thing?
Inside.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Prosecutors were precise about what that inconsistency meant. Hannah had firearm training. She acknowledged on the stand that her training taught her not to put her finger on the trigger unless she intended to fire. She had told Kenneth Herring she would shoot him before she drew the weapon. She drew the weapon. And then she claimed not to remember the trigger pull on a semi-automatic Springfield XD9 with a documented double safety mechanism. The legal argument for citizen's arrest did not survive contact with Georgia law. Prosecutors established that the initial accident, a misdemeanor traffic offense, did not meet the statutory threshold required under Georgia's citizen's arrest provision, which requires a witnessed felony. Clayton County District Attorney Tracy Graham Lawson made that position explicit in the public record of the preliminary hearing. Hannah Payne had no legal authority to detain Kenneth Herring for any reason.
While Hannah claims she acted in self-defense, Clayton County prosecutors charge her with murder without malice. She's taken to the Clayton County Jail, where she's initially held without bond. She appears in court on May 31st, 2019 for a preliminary hearing. Prosecutors called Clayton County Police Detective Keon Hayward to testify during the hearing. He reveals Kenneth appeared to be leaving the scene of the accident after suffering a medical emergency, diabetic shock. But Hannah's defense attorneys argue she acted in self-defense during the course of a citizen's arrest. Prosecutors argue Georgia law allows for citizen's arrest only if the citizen witnesses a felony. According to Clayton County District Attorney Tracy Graham Lawson, the initial accident where Kenneth allegedly ran into the semi-truck was just considered a mistake.
She was not a law enforcement officer. She had been told to stand down. She had a loaded weapon she had not disclosed to the dispatcher, and she followed a disoriented man down a Georgia road until there was nowhere left for him to go. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes.
We believe we submitted to you that the defendant acted with malice when she chased Mr. Herring's vehicle in her Jeep. She cut off Mr. Herring's vehicle with her Jeep on Riverdale Road, cornering him in, blocking his ability to move, detaining him. When she jumped out of her Jeep in an aggressive manner, immediately runs up to Mr. Herring's driver's side door, screaming, cursing, and demanding him to get out the car. She tells Mr. Herring that she will shoot him. She draws her firearm from her waist. She racks the slide with 2 hands, and she shoots him. And you heard on the 911 call, you heard her say, "You hit my car." And she says that right before she...
Guilty. Malice murder. Guilty. Felony murder. The verdict came back on all counts. 3 days later, Kenneth Herring's family stood in a Clayton County courtroom and delivered victim impact statements that are part of the public court record.
During her sentencing hearing, Kenneth Herring's siblings gave heartbreaking victim impact statements.
No more Christmas. No more birthdays. No more family gatherings. His grandchildren won't know him. He has 2 adult children that they don't have a father anymore.
I'll never see my brother again, only through pictures. The same sentence that she gave him, I would like to see the same sentence given to her.
At some point in my life, I'm going to need some healing. My opinion as far as judgment in this, I feel that whatever the court gives her, which should be life without parole, she deserves more.
His siblings said they would never see their brother again, except through pictures. His grandchildren would never know him. His adult children no longer have a father. One family member stated plainly that Hannah Payne deserved life without parole, and more. The judge sentenced her to life with the possibility of parole, plus 8 years consecutive for false imprisonment, plus 5 years consecutive for possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
With respect to count 1, malice murder, the court will impose a sentence of life with the possibility of parole. With respect to count 2, felony murder, that will merge into count 1 and is dismissed as a matter of law. With respect to count 3, aggravated assault, that merges into counts 1 and 2. With respect to count 4, felony murder, that merges into count 1 and it is dismissed as a matter of law. With respect to count 5, the false imprisonment verdict, the court imposes a sentence of 8 years consecutive. With respect to count 6, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, the court imposes a sentence of 5 years that will run consecutive to the underlying sentence. Count 7 and 8 will merge into count 6. So the court's total sentence is life with the possibility of parole plus 8 years consecutive on the false imprisonment and 5 years consecutive on the possession of firearm during.
She was remanded to the Georgia Department of Corrections and is currently housed at Pulaski State Prison in Hawkinsville, Georgia. But the case did not end there, and this is the part that changes the entire legal landscape of what happens next. Hannah Payne's attorneys filed a motion for a new trial. A lower court denied it. The case was appealed to the Georgia Supreme Court. In March of 2026, during oral arguments before the justices, it was revealed that a prosecutor with the Clayton County District Attorney's Office had used fabricated AI-generated legal citations that found their way into the court order denying the new trial. Non-existent citations, cited as real law, in a capital adjacent murder case. The Georgia Supreme Court vacated the denial and ordered a lower court to reconsider.
A motion for a new trial. Initially, a lower court denies it, but in March of 2026, her appeal is taken to the Georgia Supreme Court, where justices hear oral arguments about Hannah Payne's appeal. That's when it's revealed that a prosecutor with the Clayton County District Attorney's Office used non-existent AI citations, which made its way into the court order. Because of that major blunder, the Georgia Supreme Court has no choice but to vacate the denial of Hannah's request for a new trial, meaning a lower court has to reconsider its decision on denying Hannah Payne a new trial. As of this recording, no decision has been made.
As of the date of this recording, no new decision has been made. What that means, legally and morally, is that a murder conviction upheld by a jury in 90 minutes of deliberation is now sitting in procedural limbo because the office that prosecuted Hannah Payne introduced AI hallucinations into the post-conviction record. The evidence at trial was not the problem. The jury had no trouble with the evidence, but the system that processed the aftermath introduced a flaw so significant that the state's highest court had no choice but to act. Kenneth Herring is still dead. His grandchildren still do not know him. His siblings still only see him in photographs. None of that changes, regardless of what a lower court decides about a procedural error made years after the verdict. The publicly available record you should read is the Georgia Supreme Court's 2026 order vacating the denial of Hannah Payne's motion for new trial. It is a public document accessible through the Georgia Supreme Court's online case portal. Search Hannah Renee Payne, Clayton County. Read the order, and then come back here and answer this question in the comments. When a prosecutor introduces fabricated AI citations into a murder case record, what does that say about the integrity of the entire process? And does it change anything about what happened on that road on May 7th, 2019? If this case made you think, like this video, share it, subscribe to The Darkest Crimes, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. We follow the evidence. Always.